going to be so for real with y'all. If I had $1 for every time someone said, I'm just lazy, I'd be living in Beverly Hills, going to going to a beachfront healing resort right now. What if I told you that the reason why you're self-sabotaging isn't because that's the realest you? You are currently living in a past version of yourself that is trapped in survival mode. From the big screen to behind the scenes, it's your favorite set bestie, Lexa, here to keep it real. Right now, your actions are throwing major shade at your goals, honey. But not because you hate success. It's because something inside of you does not feel safe reaching for it. Because this is not just about, being lazy or lack of ambition. The root is deeper than it seems. So let's unpack it. So what is self-sabotage? Let me define it for you. This is my definition. So self-sabotage to me is when you allow your bad habits to affect overall your actions, which are sneaking in to block your blessings. And the shocking thing is these bad habits and behaviors are quite common. So let me give you some examples. Some of these behaviors of self-sabotage can show up as procrastination. They show up as perfectionism, a classic. They show up as overcompensating, starting something really strong and then quitting out of nowhere, essentially ghosting. And something that's really shocking, avoiding rest because rest doesn't feel safe. Self-sabotage links to how your nervous system is currently operating. And honey, it is in overdrive. You are not lazy. Your nervous system is trying to keep you safe from what it thinks is a threat, aka your success. It's like your it's like your Google Maps or Apple Maps is stuck and it keeps rerouting you into a ditch. And diving into that ditch, ironically, can lead you to the truth, the root, like I keep saying. And that root is just your past trauma. Your body remembers rejection, failure, criticism, even when it's not in the forefront of your mind. And there are many types of fears. This leads back to my previous 2 podcast episodes where I talk about, for one, the fear of being perceived, and also discussing how overall you not showing up as your authentic self hinders other people from taking up space as well, because your boldness, ironically, isn't just about you. We talked about different fears like the fear of judgment and how that's rooted in childhood shaming. We talked about the fear of success and how it can link back to family roles and overall limiting beliefs. And truthfully, laziness could be different patterns and honestly ancient responses showing back up, in the modern man. And when I say this, I mean like the fight response, the flight response, and freeze. These can all show up as, quote, laziness. And so now I am going to share my own personal story of self-sabotage. And I want to clarify. I do not tell, my personal stories to as a symbol of trauma dumping. That is not my intention. I just want to have real examples without just coming up with a whole bunch of hypotheticals and what ifs. I want to share something that people might perhaps relate to or just have literally experienced themselves. So, I'm not trying to trauma dump on you. I'm just being honest. Because what is this show called? Be So For Real. And I'm just gonna be straight up with y'all. Okay? I'm gonna keep it cute and quick. So my story goes way back to good old high school, as a lot of things happened during that time anyway, metamorphosis of the mind, puberty. We was all going through it. I was a theater kid back in good old high school, if you haven't noticed by my present career. And during the good old school year, there hit a time where it was essentially our audition season, where we're, the plays were getting ready to be pumped out. And so people were ready to hop up on that stage. And I won't say I was one of them, ironically, but I was present in my theater program. And in this particular instance, I think a friend of mine needed a reader, and so I went up with them during the audition to be a reader. And I was giving them energy. Luckily, the key for this one was we rehearsed before we were called onto the stage, so I was able to like go over the words and make sure I kind of got them in my head, not memorized, but just like I knew what essentially I was saying for their audition. I didn't want to flub them up because honestly, sometimes I see the words on the page and like if I don't highlight it, my eyes just don't catch it. And I did not want to mess up my person's performance. And so we go up on the stage and does the audition. Boom. It's great. Applause. And I go waddling off. But the thing was, after said audition, I had the director of the play come up to me and ask me like, that was really good. Are you sure you don't want to audition? And I had a moment where I was like, oh, whoa, that was actually good. Maybe could I audition? And then another thought popped in and was like, but you'll have to memorize, right? And what if you like mess up all your lines or worse, you don't remember all your lines? And just thoughts like that, like the grandness of these negative thoughts just continued to multiply and overtook any excitement that I thought when it came to being in this play. And so ultimately I was like, oh no, I was just, having fun, because really when it came to my like theater class, I was pretty much an improver. Like I just ate improv down. And so I walked away, whatever. But then again, it's a sign from the universe. Somebody else came up to me. I don't know if they were the stage manager or something, but they asked me, they were like, hey, are you like going to audition? And I was like, or not if I was going to audition, they were asking, hey, and they came up to me and they asked me, they said, hey, like, are you you sure you don't want to be in the play? Like, that was really good. You like seem to fit the character really well. And I said no. Once again, just because that fear of judgment really was eating me up. And I just didn't, in fear of failure, I didn't want to have people see me flub up and honestly, my grand secrets be exposed of just not feeling that confident in my voice. And so I dismissed this blessing, this opportunity that came my way just because I didn't feel like I was adequate enough, even though two major people in the production suggested otherwise. It didn't matter what they said. It mattered what my ego was feeding me, what was, and what I openly digested at that point, because I missed out. And I to this day, obviously, I think about what if I had just, taken that leap of faith. And even if I did mess up, just kept going. What if the what ifs were really beginning to hit me? Don't let the what ifs consume you. You can't let these what ifs consume you. And even though that was obviously more of something oriented to my career, I just want to say this. If you were ever told that love was conditional, that safety was earned, or your voice was too much, of course that would feel scary to you. Of course success would feel scary. But this was not you failing. This was just your nervous system thinking that it was keeping you safe. So let's flip the script. It's time to reframe our idea of what we think laziness is. Laziness is often grief, fear, and our nervous system stuck in a functional freeze. Thus, self-sabotage isn't just a resistance to growth. It's resistance to pain, and that is a human thing. With that being said, we need to learn how to trust ourselves and to make ourselves feel that we are in a safe environment, that we are not in the same environment of our past selves that was just riddled with all this trauma. So now I'm going to share some easy steps on how to clock your self-sabotage, but in a gentle way. First, what we always have to do is notice the pattern, and we recognize it without shaming ourselves. Grace over guilt. Now, once we recognize the pattern, we delve deeper into understanding it, not just trying to fix ourselves up like we're just this huge problem, because that's not giving yourself grace, thinking that you are a problem. You need to witness what's happening. And as you're witnessing what's happening, obviously, internally, be sure to ask yourself, what are you protecting yourself from? And I also think that it is imperative for us to regulate ourselves before we act, aka the fixing. So participate or do research on things like breath work. Yoga is phenomenal. Somatic therapy, leaning into journaling, listening to music, walking in nature. Something simple. It doesn't have to be, grand and expensive. Just whatever you relate safety to. And at the end of the day, it's about creating gentle accountability, not only up here in your mind, but opening up space in your heart. It's not about pressure. It's about presence. We don't bully our inner child into productivity. We co-regulate, thank them for showing up, and then show a new path. We need to show our bodies and re-regulate our nervous systems that our passion and drive, our idea of success, does not equal danger. We should applaud progress, even if it's just something simple like brushing your teeth in the morning, sending that email. It's about giving yourself grace. I can't stress this enough, starlets. Let me gently remind you that the goal is not to be perfect. It's to be present with yourself, even on the days when you don't feel so productive. So let's break the myth of laziness, because you were never just lazy, you were surviving. But now, since you've watched this video, obviously you're choosing something better. And with that being said, starlets, I want to give you something more to take away from this video that you can carry on with you throughout your day and hopefully for the rest of your life. When you start to feel that anxiety beginning to overwhelm and flood your nervous system, or that shame begin to shadow you when you're about to step on the path of something great, I want you to say these 3 affirmations. I choose safety and softness where I once chose shame. I am learning to feel safe in my power. I am allowed to grow and succeed. This week, I challenge you gently to not beat yourself up. You're not lazy or behind. You're healing. Actually listen to yourself, because self-sabotage, ironically, isn't your enemy. It's your signal. This sense of fear is not the driver anymore. You are. And that's the martini shot, folks. If this episode resonated with you, just hang on tight, because the next one is even deeper. Because we are reclaiming the light that we were once told to dim down. This is not just about shrinking. It's about expanding unapologetically. So bring your full self, because we're just getting started. Ciao, starlet.